Well, welcome to the next installment of the BankBeat's Quick Takes videos. Today, I'm joined by Kathleen Craig, who is the founder and CEO of Plinqit, and Roger Sundermeier, who is Senior Vice President and Chief Banking Officer at First Arkansas Bank and Trust. Welcome, Kathleen and Roger.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Hey, thanks.
Now, Kathleen, let's jump right in. And we'll bring Roger into the conversation here in a couple minutes. So your LinkedIn bio says that you are passionate about the role of savings and financial literacy on kids and young adults. So I have to imagine that Plinqit is let's call it a passion project for you. Tell me a little bit about that. Tell me about Plinqit and how this grew out of your passion project.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think growing up as one of 6 kids in Michigan in a, lower income kind of family, I've always just been passionate about money and learning how to manage money, because I think sometimes when you have parents that didn't know about money, it's hard to learn, right, over your adult life, how to break the cycle. And then I had the opportunity in my young life to work at a community bank. And so I was the VP of e-services at about $1 billion community bank. And I got to see firsthand, working in that role, because my office was in the back of a branch, how much community banks could help people with money, how much they taught their people that walked in the door about money. And they were really kind of a guidance system for our community. And I didn't know that before working at a community bank, what they did and how they gave back. So as the digital world was evolving and as tools and mobile banking and everything was coming along, I realized that there was going to need to be ways to translate that amazing service we give in the branch and when people walk in the door digitally, right? There's going to need to be education tools and services that banks could provide through their people's phones, right? And so that's what we built the company around, and we're all data driven and behavior based. Our mission is to build technology that changes people's financial future.
Very good. And so you came up through the community banking world, and so then recognized that you could deliver what you were seeing at the branch digitally.
Yeah.
So as you looked at, obviously every product or service has to solve a problem. Expand on that a little bit. So you're able to now take what's happening in the branch and bring it to the smartphone?
Yeah, absolutely. So what happened was we actually got a grant through the state of Michigan, and we were studying user behavior because we knew we wanted to help people with their money, but we didn't know where to start. I think most people don't know where to start. So historically in financial services, I think because we didn't know, we start with a budget. Right? I mean, that was typically the way. Like if you get a financial counselor, the first thing they do is start with a budget. So I think of a lot of us banks started with PFMs, right? Personal financial management. What we learned through getting that grant and studying user behavior is that budgeters are budgeters and non-budgeters are non-budgeters. And that is a really actually hard place to start, because it's met with a lot of resistance, a lot of manual entry, but I don't want to not go and get my Starbucks. So we felt like budgeting was a little hard as a first step into financial wellness. So we decided that maybe savings would be a better first step, that if we could get people to $500 or $1,000 in savings, that would be life-changing, right? If you blow a tire on the way to work and you have cash in the bank, that is a completely different life event than if you have to go to a payday lender or use a high interest credit card. So that was our hypothesis, is let's get people to save and get them to an emergency fund, right? Essentially, maybe Dave Ramsey's baby step number 1 is another way to look at it. And so we just decided to start there.
Very good. Well, let's bring Roger into the conversation. Roger, you're a self-proclaimed brand guy and storyteller. And so tell us, kind of, obviously you've partnered with Plinqit. You understand the problem that it's trying to solve. Financial education initiatives for banks, for your customers. Tell us why that's important. Tell us that story.
Sure. All right. So I'm going to quantify the self-proclaimed brand thing, though. That just means I like to doodle in meetings and draw logos and just stuff like that. I'm by no means the end all be all when it comes to the branding stuff. But from Kathleen's perspective and from Plinqit, you know, we love financial literacy. Our chairman and CEO, Larry Wilson, one of his big core components and principles is just teaching financial literacy to consumers, not just customers, but to consumers. So a lot of the stuff that we try to do is not just for customers or in our space. We want to try to encourage people to make good, sound financial decisions. When Kathleen made the comment about a payday lender or a credit card, our bank offers credit cards, you know, and so it's really an odd spot for us to be preaching the importance of savings and financial literacy and good financial decision making while we're still offering credit cards, you know. So now you got to try to figure out how to properly coach people on using credit cards wisely instead of just using that to buy everything and then pay $10 a month, you know, when the bill comes due. That's not healthy for anybody, and that's going to cause a lot of financial stress at home and personally. And so that's not what we want to do. So financial literacy is a really big core component of who we are just as an organization.
Very good. Kathleen, if you want to expand a little bit on that. I know you have a number of different partners, but, you know, obviously community banks especially want to be, you know, a good member of the community. And you brought up the example of a blown out tire that happened to me on the way home from work last week. So I feel the pain of that. Luckily, we have a rainy day fund that we were able to dip into and get 2 new tires for my car. So, you know, let's talk a little bit in the last couple of minutes we have about, you know, current economic conditions and everything that's happened over the last couple of years. I feel like, and I think you would agree, that that's just even amplified the need for good, sound financial advice. Maybe expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. One of our most heartwarming stories, and we had several users reach out to us during the pandemic to say, you know, my salary got cut, but I was okay because I had money in Plinqit. Thank you. Right. That was exciting. So yeah, for us, partnering with banks like First Arkansas Bank and Trust is huge. They were the second bank to risk on Plinqit and to launch the product early. We now have 50 partners, but you know, again, a lot of times community banks are risk adverse, right? And they don't want to try something. So to align on core values the way we do with FABT and have them willing to risk because they care so much about the community and financial wellness the way we do was just awesome, and allowed us to thrive, right? And allowed our startup to keep going, right? And be funded and all those great stuff to further our mission. With the recession, again, I do think financial wellness is top of mind for everyone, but I think it always should be. I think in this country, we have a lot of mental illness and stress, and a lot of it comes back to money, right? A lot of our other health issues and health issues relate to our stress level, right? And money is one of the biggest stressors, as you know, from blowing a tire, right? It can be one of the biggest stressors. So we really feel solving that and helping, even if it's in a small way, is just the right thing to do. And you can make a great business around it too, while helping people.
Absolutely. Well, Roger, Kathleen, thank you so much. I appreciate you sharing the story and telling us more about Plinqit and how you can, you know, really make an impact in the local communities that banks are serving. So bankers, if you're looking to learn more, you can go visit info.plinqit.com. I went out there and checked everything out. A lot of good information there. There's you can look at other customers along with Roger's bank that's using it as well. And make sure to check out the BankBeat.biz quick takes archive of all the videos and interviews that we do. And Roger, Kathleen, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.